It's Brian Preston, the money guy.
This next question is from Logan. Logan said, I work at a small business that has a simple IRA plan. It's at Fidelity, has low fees, and a great choice of funds. Should I try to talk them into switching to a 401k for the increased contribution limit? So he works at a small business, have a simple. Brian, I'd love to hear you answer the question. One, why do companies do simples? Like, why would that be something they have as opposed to a 401k? And then two, and this is sort of like, maybe this is the place that I like to play, is if you're going to move into a negotiation tactic where you're going to try to convince somebody else to do something else, are there some ways he could position that to encourage his employer, hey, this is why this might be a good thing to do?
I bet this business has been around for a while, if I had to guess, because, you know, the natural progression historically in the past, I mean, because realize I've been doing this long enough, I can give you historical perspective or context, is that when you start a venture, the first thing you typically do is you'll go to your CPA after you start having success, and they'll be like, man,
last year's a good year.
It was a good year. We got to lower your income. Do you have any employees? If you don't, why don't you do a SEP IRA? Because you can go back in time. We can lower your taxes. You can save for the future. It's a win-win situation. Yep. Fast forward, you start adding employees, and they're like, ooh, can't do the SEP anymore, because you realize if you do 15% of your income, you have to, for yourself, you have to do 15% for all your employees. Mm-hmm. And you're like, woo, I don't know, you know, I love my employees, but 15% right out of the gates when this company's just now starting to have traction, that feels pretty heavy. So then what typically happens is the next graduation point historically was, well, simple IRAs. Mm-hmm. You know, you could just do a simple IRA because that's going to allow you to save a little bit more for yourself, but then, and you only have to give 3 or 4%, depending upon how you structure their contribution and your contribution, 3 or 4% match or just funding, you know, and you're like, well, you know, I want to support my employees. I want to help them invest for the future. I like that idea. The problem with simple IRAs, though, is that they have limited contributions. I don't have the numbers, but was it 11, 12,000
or something?
Yeah, it's nowhere near the 19,500 that you get to do in a 401k. But it does solve the problem that you don't have to give your employees more than 3 to 4% matching contribution, which from a cost standpoint is what employees are worried about. Now, you notice when I started answering this question, I said, I bet this is old. Yeah. Because that was the old progress, because we've skipped simple IRAs. Typically, I don't recommend simple IRAs to companies anymore, because 401ks have actually evolved and there's been more innovation in this marketplace, that now you can go straight from SEP IRAs to 401ks. If you don't have employees, you can go right to the solo 401k. If you do have employees, you can just think about a 401k, but because it has to do all the annual compliance. But here's the big evolution or big innovation that's occurred. When I first started managing money to set up a 401k, there was all this testing you had to do. And it would cost you thousands and thousands of dollars to set up a plan. And you were scared to death that you better file the 5,500 and all the other things. And it would cost you $6,000, $8,000, maybe even $10,000 to run this plan. Fast forward to where we are now, you can actually do a 401k for your employees, and you can do a safe harbor 401k where you still do the 3 or 4%, same matching percentage as the simple, but it allows you, the employer, to start saving more. It allows your employees to start saving more. It allows you to add a Roth tax-free component to these plans. It allows, you know, there's just so many. You can do Roth conversions now if your income gets over the Roth IRA contribution limit. There's tremendous benefits to doing 401ks over simple IRAs, and the costs have come way down. I'm saying for less than $3,000 a year, you can have a fully tricked out, all the options, all the bells and whistles type retirement plan. And that's all because of technology, innovation, and other things that allows, you know, you to get the best. So I would tell you, if you're an employee, go advocate. Go advocate to your employer, because it's not only going to be better for you, the employees, it's going to be better for your employer, because they're going to be able to save a lot more money for their future. And that's going to be the carrot, because Bo has superpowers. Throughout Bo's career, he's been able, whenever he wanted pay raises, whenever he was trying to convince me to sell him a bigger portion of the business or anything else, he'd always try to figure out how he could position it to where I actually would benefit from doing this thing that just so happened would also benefit him.
I mean, it was a good thing for me too.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great skill set. I mean, this when we talk about the make friends. What's the Carnegie
How to win
book?
friends and influence people.
This is one of the basic skills and tenets that they teach you is if you're asking for something, figure out how you can present it in a way that benefits the person you're asking. That way, it's the quintessential win-win situation. That's the way I would position this.
You have to make it more about the benefit that the employer will receive rather than the benefit that you'll receive. And it'll probably take a little bit of work to do that. You need to figure out, okay, well, here's a company we could go with, and here's what the costs could be, and here's why it would be a benefit for you, and here are the things you can do. If you position it that way, you may be surprised. I mean, we've added benefits here at the firm because we've had employees with children be like, hey, do you think we could have this thing because we can save? And then we're like, it's a great idea.
Yeah.
You presented that very well. So it's not impossible for that to happen.